And I am back once again, and thank you guys for coming back. In the last video, we installed our Quick Performance budget brake kit. Everything was great, except for we had a little mix-up with the brake lines, and they had actually sent me these, which I'm still not sure, like they look like front brake lines. So I'd actually ordered everything through Trick Chassis, so I called Alex at Trick Chassis. Very good customer support, by the way. But I gave him a call, and he immediately reached out to Quick Performance and had him send me the brake kit that I had paid for. So this is the Quick Performance braided AN brake kit. So what you've got one shorter line that attaches to your main line, coming to the back of the car there. Then you've got this T, which of course connects to that, and then you've got these two long lines. One goes to each caliper, and then you have these adapters that adapt. I think this is dash 4. Seems like dash 4. Adapts your brake caliper to dash 4 fittings, and of course you've got your crush washer here for these. And then they sent me 2 different adapters. So this goes from your main brake line, is going to screw into the back of here and adapt it to the AN for this line here. So we get to put this on here. I have not heard if they want me to ship these other lines back. I will get a hold of Alex Monday and ask him if he does. I'll go ahead and do that. But huge shout out to Trick Chassis and Quick Performance. They actually second day aired this kit to me, so I would have it before the holiday weekend here. So I'm not going to talk too much. We're going to go ahead and I'll show you how to hook this up and get everything ready to rock. I am just going to unscrew the banjo fitting that came in the caliper. Ooh, that's longer than I expected. Well, hopefully this does what it's supposed to. Alright, well, it seems like it's going to fit, so I'll put my crush washer on here, screw this guy on up in here. And I'm just going to use my little 1/4" drive because I don't want to put a tremendous amount of force on this. Should be good, nice and snug. Now we'll screw the 90-degree fitting part of our brake line on here. And we'll tighten that up with a 9/16. I'm going to try to keep it as close to the axle as I can. I like that these are these appear to be steel fittings, not aluminum too, on these lines. So that's our line on this side. There is plenty of slack here, so I'm going to be able to pretty much do whatever I want up there in the middle. But I'm going to move on and get the fitting in the other side. So over here on the driver's side, same story. We'll take out our banjo bolt. Put our crush washer on. Now, one thing I am kind of worried about, guys, is there's not a really large shoulder on this adapter, so I am a little worried about leaks. Also, this doesn't go as far up into the brake caliper as the original. Well, I guess it does, because the original banjo bolt would actually only go that far. Okay, so I'm not worried now. We'll see what happens, but go ahead and screw that in and tighten it up as well. Now over here on this side, we're going to have to route it just slightly differently because of our panhard bar here. So will go under the panhard bracket and then up on this side. But I'm still trying to keep it, wait, I was going the wrong way. I'm still trying to keep it kind of over here aimed as close to the rear end as possible, just so we don't have anything hanging. Don't want to leave it hanging, guys. Alright, I think we should be good there. Next thing we need to do is tie both these lines together with our T. Now, I'm doing it down here just so I can show you guys, so I'm going to have to leave these loose because I don't want to tighten these up until, oh, well, why am I not able to get these started? Alright. Maybe because, once again, I'm behind the camera, making things difficult for myself. But I'm not going to tighten these up yet. Yeah, there we go. Because, you know, I need to kind of see where this needs to be angled on top of the rear end. And I'm just doing this down here so I can show you guys. Because once I put it up there, I'm probably not going to be able to get a good camera angle until after, you know, it's up there. So, leaving these loose, I'm going to go ahead and tie in my main line right here, and I can go ahead and tighten it down on this side because it's just going to be going straight. So we'll snug him down. Oh, that was my finger popping. I think we're good though. So I've got everything teed together. These two are loose because, again, I want to be able to adjust my angle this way depending on where it ends up laying up there. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and feed this up to the top of my rear end. So we are now over here to our main line right here, guys, that despite the fact that I had a vacuum cap on, has still been steadily dripping, steadily leaking. So what we have to do is we have to figure out which one of these adapters they sent me to adapt this to -4. We need to figure out which one goes on there. But before we do that, we need to top off our reservoir in our master cylinder, because once I take this line off, it's going to start pulling fluid out. And even though we're going to have to bleed the brakes anyway, we don't want to have any more air in the lines than we have to. So let's go do that. Now, after pulling our cover, two things have become apparent. Number one, we've leaked a lot of fluid out between doing the proportion mod and disconnecting the back brakes. It's leaked a lot of fluid out. Two, the fluid that is in here is absolutely filthy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my old 20-year-old turkey baster that I've got out here in the garage just for this purpose. I'm going to get as much of this fluid out as I can with a turkey baster, and then we're going to top it off with some fresh .3 brake fluid. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting in there, so we're going to go ahead and just try to wipe some of this nastiness out before we dump in fresh fluid. It's pretty caked up in there. Well, she's not perfect, but she's perfecter than she was, so we're going to put some stop-'em fluid in there. Oh yeah, that's nice. Nice fresh stop-'em fluid. I am overfilling just a little bit because, well, you know, we're going to bleed some out. So this is the part where I don't even know if you guys can really see what I'm doing, but basically what we're going to do, we're going to pull our little vacuum cap off, and we're going to hope one of these two adapters they sent fits threads in here. So I might have to block the camera to do this. I apologize, but it is what it is, guys. Did I get it first try? Probably not. I'm never that lucky. No, definitely not that one. Oh, we're just leaking fluid everywhere. Try number 2. may have a big problem. So I just came up here to the workbench to check these fittings. Guys, I just cannot win. I think they were supposed to send 2 different fittings. So, you know, depending on what size your lines are. They sent me 2 of the exact same size fittings. These are identical. They're both the exact same size. So I'm guessing in the kit they're supposed to send you like I just said, 2 sizes, and they sent me 2 of the same size. What can I say, guys? Bad luck garage. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong over here. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to get a hold of anybody at Quick Performance until Monday. Then I would have to wait, you know, probably a week or whatever for them to ship me the correct fitting. So I'm probably just going to bite the bullet. And today is the day before Christmas Eve. It's 8 o'clock at night. So obviously I can't do anything tonight. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve, nothing's going to be open. Saturday is Christmas, nothing's going to be open. Sunday, nothing's going to be open anyway. So I guess Monday I will head to Performance Products. Hopefully they will have the correct adapter that I need. Man, this sucks. I'm just having so many drawbacks on this car, having to wait for parts and stuff. But to you guys, it'll only be a few seconds because this video won't be out until I get this finished. Well, this video definitely took long enough to make. So here's the story, ladies and gentlemen. This fitting right here and the other fitting, obviously they didn't fit. Here's what's going on. The earlier GM F-bodies, I think sometime in the mid-80s, GM switched over to metric brake fittings. So prior to that, that main line would have been, I think, a 3/8 by 24 thread inverted flare. Okay, well, after copious amounts of research, I figured out my fitting and anything I think 85 or 86 and up on these 3rd gens, it is a metric 12 millimeter by 1.0 bubble flare. Now, I have spent literally days over the holidays trying to figure out, you know, who makes a metric 12 millimeter by 1.0 thread to a -4 AN adapter. And here's the thing, guys, nobody makes it. I have done Google searches. I've been all over the internet. I have made dozens of phone calls to different fitting manufacturers, different Brakeline companies. Nobody makes one of these that goes from 12 millimeter bubble flare 1.0 to either a -3 or a -4. I couldn't even find one that does a -3. I was just going to use a -3 to -4 adapter. So nobody makes one, guys. So I'm just telling you right now, if you own a fitting company, you could corner the market on that. Make a 12 by 1.0 bubble flare to -3 or -4 adapter, and you would have all the freaking business on the late model GM guys. Anyway, this is what I did figure out to do. I went down to AutoZone, and if you go down there, well, any auto parts store really, you can buy pieces of hardline that have different size, you know, different types of flares and different size flare fittings on either end. So I went down there. I bought I think it's about 7 inches long. Does this say? I'm just showing you guys the part number that I used. It's this right here, and it's 3/16 line. On one end, it is a male 3/8 by 24 thread inverted flare, or maybe it's a standard flare. It says standard flare, so I guess it's standard flare. And then the other end is our magic number, 12 millimeter by 1.0 bubble flare. Then, of course, because it would be male to male, that doesn't work, at least not on fittings. I had to buy this guy here. This was a female on both sides, 12 millimeter by 1.0 bubble flare coupler, and there's the part number on it, BLU10C. So I got both of those. I screwed the hard line into this, screwed this into my main line coming back, and it actually worked out good, guys, because the main line that they send you with that Brakeline kit, because my main brake line comes out all the way over here on the driver's side, it wasn't going to reach. The line wasn't long enough that they gave me. So by having that extra 7 inches of line there, that allowed me to, number one, make the line long enough to reach the braided line, and it also allowed me to put a bend in it to make the braided line kind of loop up, so that when the axle goes up, the line doesn't end up hitting the top of the torque arm or anything like that. I'm just going to crawl under here and show you. So you can see right here what we ended up with. Over on the left there is the female to female 12 by 100 coupler. That's that brass fitting there. And then you can see my hard line that I bought, that's 12 by 1.0 on this end, and then up here on this end it's 3/8 by 24, which screwed right into one of the adapters that Quick Performance sent us, and then it hooks to the stainless line from their kit. The line arch is way up, and that's actually on purpose. Now I could bend that hard line right there to, to kind of take some of that arch out, but keep in mind the rear end is fully extended right now. So once this thing's on the ground, this rear end is going to come way up to here, and this line is going to, pretty much be sitting right on top of the rear end at that point, or maybe a couple inches above it. So we got that going on, and then if you come back, you can see where the two lines join into the T right there, and then come even further back, and you can see how I routed them to each side. So I've got them clamped to the axle, or actually they're not clamped to the axle, they're clamped to the axle brace that's welded to the back of the axle tubes and the rear end housing there. And then it comes on over and goes to each brake caliper. Now, as far as the way I have this clamped, this is temporary. So what I wanted to do, I like how this is routed here, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to drill in this brace here, and I wanted to do riv nuts. Unfortunately, I broke my riv nut tool, so I wasn't able to do that. So for the time being, what I did, I drilled the holes a little smaller, and I used stainless steel screws to secure them. But as soon as I get a new riv nut gun, I will drill these holes out. We'll do the rivet nut inserts, and then I can just use a small bolt and washer to get those in there, and they'll be even more secure. Won't have to worry about them rattling out. For the time being, I'll just keep an eye. I might actually get that done before this car is tracked again, but if not, I'll keep an eye on these screws and just make sure they're not working loose from vibration or anything. Now, we have already bled the brakes. The wife came out here and helped me. And I do want to say, I was originally worried about leaks right here at these fittings going into the brake caliper, and apparently my worry was warranted, because over there on that side it was leaking pretty good. I'm actually about to check it again because it's the next day since we bled the brakes, and actually, you know what, guys, unless that's just some residual that's left over, this is still leaking. So I'm gonna have to, yeah, it's still leaking. You can see it dripping off right there ever so slightly. So we're gonna have to do something with this. Here's the deal, guys. I took this back apart because it was leaking when we started bleeding the brakes. So I took this fitting loose, and I was trying to be gentle with the fitting that screws into the brake caliper, because I was afraid of snapping it off or something. But at this point, I have put so much torque on this that I felt like it was right at the verge of me just snapping that off in the caliper, and it's still not sealed. It's not like it's shooting out or anything, but when you hit the brakes really hard, you can see it start to weep from under this crush washer here. I don't really understand the crush washer because it's like an inverted flare up in there. So I came up here to kind of show you this, but up inside there, it's almost like an inverted flare. And, you know, these are the fittings that came out originally of the calipers. But it's supposed to seal against itself up inside there. So I really didn't understand the purpose of the crush washer to begin with. But, you know, I thought I'd fix that leak until just now when I started recording again and saw that it was still weeping. I gotta say, overall, guys, for the money, I'm not impressed with this kit. So my recommendation, as bad as I hate to say it, is skip out on the quick performance Brakeline kit. Just skip out on it altogether. My recommendation would be to just make up your own hard lines, and generally that's what I've always done. This is the first time I ever bought a brake kit, you know, like Brakeline kit. Generally I just make my own hard lines, and that's what I should have done here. So I'm gonna have to figure out some way to get this sealed. I may try taking that crush washer off and just screwing the fitting directly in and see if the, you know, the flare fitting up in there will seal it. If that doesn't work, I might try a thicker crush washer, something along those lines. But I don't know, guys. I just want to go ahead and finish and get this video out. But my personal opinion, as I just stated, is skip the quick performance Brakeline kit. Don't even bother with it. It'd be cheaper and probably a little bit neater to just make your own hard lines. I may, if I can't get this to seal, I may just call this a $75 loss, and I may go to the store and just make up new lines, new hard lines. Just use I could use the original T here, which is what, you know, this line is my original line that goes to the axle, and it tees right here and goes to either side. So if I can't get that one to seal, that's what it's going to come to, is I'm going to reuse this line. We'll just clean it up a little bit, and I'll run it over. We'll weld a bracket on the 9-inch for this mounting bolt to screw into, and then I'll just make lines similar to these but without so many bends in them. But I'll just make hard lines to go over to each caliper, and maybe have like 6 inches worth of soft line on each end or something, because I'm not happy. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I thought the leak was fixed until about 5 minutes ago, and I was really hoping to come out here and I was just going to say, you know, I recommend the hard lines, but you can make this kit work. But yeah, not impressed at all. So as you can see, we went ahead and put our street tires back on here, took the drag radials off. We do have to break in this rear end. That's probably the next video you're going to see. Of course, if I can get that leak fixed. That leak might not be a huge deal though, because during the break-in process, it's not like we're really going to be hammering on it or building any speed. So at this point, other than fixing that last leak that we just found, the only thing we're waiting on to be able to break in the rear end and do some tuning is we're waiting on our charge pipe. I'm about to call my cousin Brad and see if he's got that ready for us yet. If he does, hopefully within the next week, you guys will see a video of me driving around, breaking the rear end in and doing a little bit of tuning. So sorry I couldn't really endorse that Brakeline kit, but you know, that's just the way it is, guys. I mean, I'm going to tell you my honest feelings. If I like something, I'm going to tell you I like it. I'm going to recommend it. If I don't like something, I'm going to tell you I don't recommend it. And I do not recommend the Brakeline, the braided AN Brakeline kit from Quick Performance. So I'm going to stop rambling now. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully the next video will go a little better. But for now, get out in the garage, get something done, and I'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage.